All right, guys, so we're back for part two with the, I'm going to butcher these names, Amouranth break-in. A lot of lessons to be learned. I did the part one previously, so this is part two, where we actually break down now the interview with Coleon Noir. I think I got his name right that time. And some lessons learned. So let's check it out, and we'll just kind of stop it as it goes along. We'll kind of talk about what they're mentioning here.
Place is pretty well guarded. Like it's a pretty hard place to get into from the front.
Mm-hmm.
So they didn't get in through the front.
Mm-mm.
They got in through the back.
Yes.
All right. So kind of talk to me about what happened and how they got in.
Yeah. In hindsight, we were.
So the first thing I noticed is look at their fence. They got barbed wire up on the top. Okay, legit. They got chicken wire now running all through along the bottom. That's an anti-intrusion measure. I don't know what this power source is on the back tree there, but maybe it's some sort of lighting, but it could be security cameras. It could be some sort of vibration detection sensor, especially when you get into these very wealthy homes. Because remember, they were broken into and home invaded, beaten, held at gunpoint for $20 million of crypto, which also, once again, reignites the conversation. Could we expect an increase of violent crime and attacks and victimization of wealthy people who store their assets within a crypto digital currency? Because really that's the only way you're going to get the transfer of that currency is by having them held hostage, just straight up. So let's keep going.
We reviewed the security camera footage so we can really piece together the timeline. 10:30 something, you start here. Unfortunately, this camera that's up here, it goes out, and so you can't see that for the 10-minute stretch,
Go figure, that happens all the time, guys. Wired camera systems are the way to go, not wireless. Wireless, you get lag, and you get cameras that cut out all the time, and it will always be the 10-minute stretch that you need it to be where it doesn't work.
But you can hear it from the other cameras that there's some kind of activity going on here. It's like a sawing, a banging on it. And then basically, eventually, however they do it, they get 3 of these boards, which these are, we put new nails in to just secure it for now. 3 of these boards.
Nails versus screws. Nails will never be as secure as screws. So whenever you're doing home construction for security purposes, always use screws, guys.
Basically, they pulled them out, and then they basically vaulted in.
Gotcha. So did they even attempt to try to get in through the front?
They did. Briefly, one of my cameras caught.
Okay, so there's that tree that there's right now. Coleon and Amouranth and this guy are all standing right here. This is the fence, and so this is where they were breaking in from, because that's that tree right here. So this is the fence right here.
Them, kind of making an approach from kind of diagonally to the front, right? And then when the floodlights and stuff, because we have a lot of kind of security stuff out front, started flickering on, they clearly changed their method of attack. Yeah.
Floodlights are awesome. I recommend you guys have the dimly lit floodlights that get even brighter as you approach them. That way, that deterrence factor could have maybe completely deterred them, maybe not, who knows. But lighting is probably the best thing you could do to protect your home, utilizing deterrence and bolt detection.
Okay. All right. So then once they got in through this area here, what happens next?
They basically marched straight across towards where the patio is, and usually the curtains are opened out, especially at night. And they see the dogs, and you can see that they optically opt to go through the garage to hopefully avoid the dogs, it seems.
Gotcha. Okay, so I can see, so this is the garage area right here,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
All right, because even my mind now,
Yeah.
with the knowledge I have, if I kind of walked in and saw that,
Yeah.
I would have thought that was the interior of the house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so basically they come here, and then they see the dogs. The dogs are right at the thing looking at them, right? And
on the other side
of this barrier. This,
gotcha.
Because that barrier is there, the curtains are not there.
Gotcha.
Right?
Okay.
They're drawn, and then so the dogs are just here looking. Princess is barking a little bit, but they're not really it's oh, weird. There's strangers here, but they're here to play or whatever. Then they optically go here, and that's when it gets a little comedic in that this is always unlocked, which this glass door, and so instead of checking it whatsoever, they just instantly go to smashing, in the glass, and then
Lock your doors, guys.
Just slid it open.
yeah, and then suddenly
they didn't even try. They didn't even try to slide it open. They just
they just went for the thing, right? And then in here we have a bunch of like, we entertain our nieces and nephews a bunch, and so there's a lot of kids' toys and just, random doodads, and it's very cluttered. And so then there's this comical thing, because there's a camera in there also of like, they just are falling over things. It's dark.
Okay.
They're tripping over everything. Yeah. They're swimming through this trash, basically.
Okay, yeah, that would have flustered the shit out of me, I'm not gonna lie. Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, yeah, so they're tripping all over, and then like, you can see they finally make it to the door, and they're thinking, I'm assuming that it must be, okay, now we're gonna get in the house, and they open it, and now they're facing the two dogs on the patio. Because this is a detached garage, yeah.
Gotcha, okay. That's hilarious as shit. And that's on video.
Yeah.
At this point, we're gonna cut to you.
So with all that noise, they still haven't realized they're being broken into.
And where you were at this time.
So I was laying in bed, and the three guys come in this hallway after they bust down the door, and then they turn all the lights on. I'm just like, what is happening? At this point, I already have Nick on the phone, because as I was laying here, right, I went to bed early. He was still in his man cave across the driveway. I put on my sleeping mask, and about like maybe 2 minutes after I did that, I hear really loud bangs coming from beneath this. I guess that was them breaking the glass door.
Gotcha, okay.
But I didn't know that at the time.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yes, I know what's happening. Yeah. I just hear really loud crashing sounds, and I call Nick, and I asked if he heard that. He says, no, it's probably the dogs, because our dogs will jump on the table.
Dogs are not security systems unless they've been trained for it, guys. And if your dogs are rambunctious and always barking and running into shit and jumping on stuff, they're actually a liability. No doubt about it. Don't get that twisted.
And the crates on the patio and make noise. But I felt like it was way too loud for dogs. And so I told him, well, I'm gonna lock the doors anyways. If you want to come in later, call me, because I'll probably be asleep. And I went and locked this door, and then I locked my bedroom door over there, and I try to lay back down. And then a few minutes later, I hear even louder bangs coming from that door.
She locked her bedroom door. It bought her very significant time. Now, has she replaced the screws in the striker plate with 2 3-inch screws? Probably not. Did it save her? No, because she had to understand what was taking place around her. But keep your doors shut at night, guys. Fires, go Google some images right now of what a door closed versus door open does when it comes to home fires. Criminals, look what it does. There's not many good reasons to not lock your door at night for your bedroom.
And then some shots, because they were trying to shoot it open. And then they finally kicked it in, crashed, and that's when the three of them entered and turned on the lights. And so at this point, they're pointing guns at me, telling me to stand up. And so I come over here, as they're like coming at me with the guns pointed at me, and I sit in this.
Notice that smoke alarm goes off, gunpowder burning inside of the house that will trigger smoke alarms if it's within a certain proximity.
Chair, and one of them has the gun pointed at my head.
So they sat you on the chair, or you sat you?
I sat on the chair.
Okay, gotcha.
Because they said stand up, but if they're coming this way, I don't really have anywhere else to go,
Gotcha.
right? And one of them has the gun pointed at my head, and the other one is asking where the crypto is. And he can hear all this too, because it's going.
Yeah, relationally, I don't know where the phone is, but like I can hear, this, yeah.
Gotcha. So okay, so where was the phone at the time when?
At first, I had it when I sat down initially, but as he was asking where's the crypto, and I said, I don't have it. He took my phone and then told me to unlock it for him. And then I guess he was looking for the Coinbase app, which I don't even have on my phone.
Gotcha.
And so when he didn't find that, he asked again, where's the crypto? And I said, I don't have it. It's not here. And then the guy pointing the gun said, hit her. Luckily, I had actually taken some influencer boxing courses, because I was going to be in this huge tournament like a few years ago.
Okay.
And so my instincts went up just like to defend myself. And so that's why like my face looks okay. But I did get a laceration underneath my hairline on top of my head. And then like my hand is still recovering.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
From earlier this month, yeah. And so I was just going like this, and they hit me 3 times.
And they were hitting you with the gun?
Yeah, pistol whipping.
Ah, okay.
And not shooting.
Yeah.
If they did that, they don't know what the crypto is still, right?
So did they? So they assumed it was you still had it on exchange. Or,
yeah, I think
or
they
whatever,
might have thought there was like a cold storage device somewhere that they didn't know where.
So the way a lot of people will store their crypto to take it off the actual market is to put it into a blockchain, and I'm not a crypto specialist or nothing, but this blockchain is a code, and then they put it on an external hard drive. And so that money is living in that hard drive. So perhaps that's what they were expecting here. But keep in mind that they're pistol whipping her. They're running into her room as she's falling asleep. Thankfully, she locked her door, bought herself a little bit of time. She could have armed herself, but she was not understanding she was being broken into. And unfortunately, by that time, it was too late. Now, by crazy chance, she was on the phone with, I don't know who this guy is, her husband or boyfriend or whatever, and he's hearing it on the other end. And he's on the other side of the home. They have a very large home. And so if your home is large enough to where you could be on opposite ends and not necessarily be within shouting distance of each other, you should probably have some sort of a plan in place where you can communicate, because this is crazy lucky. This is so lucky that he was on the phone with her at that point in time.
It was. They're trying to like get the answer out of me. And so after the third pistol whipping, I just figured that they're not going to stop beating me. If I don't give them what they want, they might even shoot me, right? Because like they're already pointing at my head. They already shot the door down. So I knew I just had to do something. I didn't really have a plan, but I just knew that there's no way they're going to let me like open up my bed drawers to grab my gun or anything.
So that was going to be my next question. So you do keep a gun up here?
Yeah, we do. We do. But, you know, usually in my mind, it's always been like, oh, you hear you hear people break in, your camera alerts you, and you have time to figure it out. But not in this case. It happened way too fast. Yeah,
I mean, it's interesting because, you know, you actually technically did hear it, but because the kind of human mind, we don't want it to be what the worst case scenario is, right?
Right.
So, because I probably would have done the same, like, nah, you know, you just kind of let it go. But then your intuition did kind of kick in, so you decided, hey, I'm going to call Nick. It's like, something's not right? And then inevitably, if you hadn't have done that, this could have probably honestly gone totally different.
Yeah.
Like, totally different.
Yeah, this would have been an entirely different situation, especially with these dumbass criminal kids, which they obviously are. Guys, this is a worst case scenario, to be honest, because you're on the other side of your house. You got 3 armed guys who are holding your wife hostage. I mean, here's the evidence that you need to train for something like that. If, you know, you're any responsible human being, like, it's not like you need to go through crazy hardcore special forces training, but you should at least be doing stuff so that you can become familiar with geometries of fire, how to approach an angle, how to clear out a home. Because this situation, if you have no ability to do anything and she's stuck up there getting pistol whipped to death, raped, I mean, you're just fucked as a man.
Different. So,
and
then at this point in time,
kids.
you were over there in the man cave.
Yeah, it's a whole detached, separate structure. We originally merged 2 lots, and so that's the second lot. And, you know, it's like how we do work-life separation. It's like I have an office up there. I have like a man cave up there. She has her studios downstairs, and then there's a gym in that area. And so I'm in my man cave. And then, like, a lot of people mention, like, oh, well, how did you not hear? It's like that entire structure is hyper sound insulated, right? The idea was if I'm above her, I should be able, or she should be able to yell. I shouldn't be able to hear, and vice versa, right? Yeah. And so that kind of, you know, worked against us in this case because I'm in the bathroom taking care of my business.
You mean you were taking a shit?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No. If we can say that, then we'll go with that. Yeah. I was taking a shit, you know, and then like she called me back within 2 minutes, right? So it's like I don't know what, like 10:48, 49 p.m. Okay. And then, you know, I pick up, I just finished, you know, the thing, and then it's on speakerphone, and then I hear the thing play out, like, instantly, right?
Gotcha.
Like, it really felt like the whole Taken thing, except I didn't speak to the bad guy on the phone. There's no difference. Yeah.
Right. So, at this point, finish off where you were when they had you here, gun to your head, they were beating you, the pistol whipping you with the gun and whatnot. All right, so then what happens from there?
Yeah, after the third hit, I just was like, I've got to do something different. So I pretended that I knew where it was. Like, oh, I remember where I put it, actually. Hold on, I'll show you. You can have it all. And so I'm like, kind of like jogging. I don't have any shoes on either. I'm just like in my socks and pajamas, and I'm jogging through the hallway.
If they're going to let you create space from them, the criminals, the bad guys, by leading them somewhere in the house, you need to be taking advantage of that every way you possibly can, and you need to have a plan as to like where it is you're going. Are you going to the other side of the house where your husband is at, who has weapons? Are you going into the kitchen? Are you going to try to take on 3-on-1? Do you have a panic room? Do you have kids in the house? How do we get them away from the kids? All this stuff should be thought of ahead of time, guys, because you're not going to be thinking you're not going to have a lot of mental space to be thinking about it here in this moment.
Well, now we're We're getting a new door and everything. So yeah, I'm going through here. You can actually see because my my hands were covered in blood from my head and my hand being hit. You can see the blood still as I was like balancing myself. And I didn't even realize it at the time because I guess the adrenaline, but they had pulled my hair back. We saw on the security camera.
Right here, like he just grabs a fistful of her hair and just yanks back, and you almost fall on your back in the video.
Yeah.
And like she doesn't remember that in the moment because whatever, but that's what me and Jacob saw looking at the footage, like just right after the thing. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And so I'm leading them across here. And at this point, I don't really have a plan because I just know that any of the options for defense, whether it's going to be him or the panic room, are in this other building. Okay, so this is the building. And I don't actually know how close they are behind me because I wasn't looking back at all. And so
you were kind of like at a jog trot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. As much as you can do in bare feet.
Yeah.
Bare feet.
See, once again, the dogs didn't do anything.
And so I
Now, she goes inside of here, and this is important to note because you're going to have a moment of separation whenever you're entering into a new portion of the house, a doorway, something like that. So we'll talk about that in a minute.
I know that this panic room that we have, the door historically, every time I try to open and close it, is very heavy. And I just don't know if I have time with 3 of them chasing me to actually close it effectively before they just push it against me. And so I decided I'm just going to run up here.
So now we're back in your world.
Yeah. Right. So basically, on the phone during the call where I'm still hearing most of everything, I've, at this point, put up my briefs, didn't wipe. I have a plate carrier by the door. I'm a little bit of an over-prepper, and so I slip that on. I type in
a bit of an over-prepper. He's got a plate carrier. You got 3 armed fucking people in your house, man. That's not over-prepping.
Little thing into my little, gun safe thing, like just for a handgun, right?
So, did you get it right the first time? The code.
I honestly don't remember.
Okay.
But so I have a really dumb code that you can't really mess. It's like the same number.
Gotcha.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Fair enough. And the reason I asked that is for my own personal, because sometimes I'm in a situation where if I have a gun in my safe like that, is the adrenaline going to cause me to kind of fuck up the first time and then kind of go back? Because it can be a little kind of hard to do that. So that's why I asked.
Yeah, and so I knew right then that, unfortunately, most of my guns are locked away. I have my concealed carry, 9mm handgun, and then I also have a shotgun. But because I know, hearing that they're, hitting her and are clearly close in proximity, I know that the shotgun isn't going to be the thing. So I slip on the plate carrier, I take the gun out of the locker after I press the code, and I'm running down here, and
So this dude's pretty smart. The shotgun's not the thing. Why? Because he probably has some sort of a buckshot or whatever, bird shot, and so that's a cone of fire. It's not a slug where it's one direct slug, chunk of metal flying down towards somebody like a handgun. Now, the only thing that I would say is being up in this design of a house with offs in the top and a stairwell and things like that, I wouldn't even have a handgun in there. I would have a shotgun and I would have a rifle. This is when a shoulder-fired 9mm would be absolutely the most perfect weapon system possible for this type of a situation where you have to take surgical shots with somebody you love in the mix, and you want to make sure that you're hitting your target with absolute certainty. Shoulder-fired weapon's the best one to do that with. 9mm. Hollow point for home defense. You won't get a lot of over penetration at all. And that's just what I would recommend.
I run to this door. By the time I get to this door, they're clearly on the move. And my Google Home thing is flashing with notifications like person moving across camera 2 upstairs.
That is a benefit to having motion sensors and those types of activations, is that in a situation like this, you could actually see ding, 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 ding. People are moving across your house in a particular direction. So now he knows that they're coming to him. What he knows, it doesn't really matter. If she said, my husband's over there, he's got guns or whatever, he doesn't have guns, it doesn't matter because that's just where I want my wife to go. You're coming to me regardless of what I have or where I'm at. I want you to come to me. Tell him anything. I don't really care because I'm going to be ready.
Person moving across camera 3. I don't know if it's a 5-second or a 30-second delay. I just know that they are on the move. And then, hearing.
And he's smart again. He realizes there is a delay because it's wireless.
She's clearly leading them somewhere. And so I figured she's definitely going to lead them here because not only is the panic room here, I'm here, and she was on the phone with me, right?
Okay.
Now, the only thing I would say is if he had some sort of tactical advantage via window while they're out there in the courtyard, I would have just started lighting them up there because that's going to give me, look at that separation you're going to have between your wife and the bad guys. I mean, she's here. You've got 1, 2, 3. I mean, I'll just start lighting these guys up. But it doesn't appear as if though he had that.
I'm here, and she was on the phone with me, right? Okay. So everything that isn't out, so to speak, is...
So the next part would be to position yourself here in a dominating position along this threshold. Poke yourself out and support yourself up against it because you got the door right over there to the other side. Remember, when she comes in that door, she's going to have a moment of opportunity to separate. That's just natural. It's fatal funnel concept. And so now that he's posted up there, she comes running in. All he's got to do is yell, get down. She ducks down, and then he just starts lighting them up. But it still worked out pretty good for him.
Here. And so with that in mind, and this is the thing, right? Like full sprint from here to the master is like 2.5 minutes probably. Their whole elapsed time from the door coming down to me shooting the guy is like 4 minutes and 35 seconds. Like we tell the story and it's like, oh, it sounds like half an hour, but no, it's like less than 5 minutes, right? And it's like, you know, from on the toilet and up. And so I'm at the door and then I realize, okay. And then luckily we have these lights kind of like the other place where if you smash the top, they go max brightness because it's the gym, right?
Okay.
And so the idea, like, luckily I have a little of experience, you know, now that I've seen camera work, I'm like, oh, the lighting's like an important thing. So I turn on all the lights here max, and then I run up here and I turn off this whole staircase lights.
Okay, so
that's very smart. So he's in the shadow. Remember that you're always camouflaging yourself into the negative space. So the positive would be that initial room, all the bright lights. If you're back in the shadowy corner, they're not going to even see it coming.
At this point, where are you at this? After you smash the lights, so you're.
Then I run up and I want to close the lights here so that there's at least some.
Before I go.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Gotcha.
And then like as luck would have it, like I'm coming back down and then they're like it's so fast, right? And so then basically it was tough because I knew it's like you know, in the movies, it's like, oh, someone's holding your loved one at gunpoint, and it's like, oh, you just take the perfect shot. But like, I know enough to know that you can't take that, like that kind of thing. Like I can at least. And so like I was.
Sorry.
He understands his skill set. That's important.
I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah.
So because you mentioned something, I'm gonna go back real quick. You talked about starting between a shotgun and a handgun, right? So what made you choose a handgun over the shotgun? I'm kind of leading you into what you're getting at now.
That, like, so if it was me holed up, I would probably pick the shotgun. But because I'm going to them, one thing, and then the second thing, the more important one is that she's with them in close proximity. It just felt like that was too much of a blunt instrument.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And so, you know, my hope was that, like, I didn't think she would respond if I told her to get down. And so I was like, I need to have a window of actually firing. And so I picked a spot where I thought, you know, there could be some separation. And so they come here, she's here, and she's leading them, right? And she gets to here, and I tell her to get down. And like, you know, I still credit her with acting so, like, you know, she's so cogent and calm that, like, she gets down immediately.
Okay.
She just gets all the way down, and then, like, you know, these three, they rush up here, and then they line up briefly. And so I only see what the first guy's doing, right? Like, I'm just tunnel visioning on him. And he looks up at me, and, like, in the moment, like, it's all on mute, right? Like, you know, stress and adrenaline's at its peak. And so he yells
Audio and video exclusion.
something at me as he's raising his, you know, hand holding the gun. And I don't know what that is. I see his mouth moving. And then so, you know, I have my gun roughly trained on him, and then I fire, you know, 3 shots, even though, you know, like, and I thought, oh, they'd be loud, but like, it was literally like, I didn't hear the shots.
Which is crazy because we're in here right now, so you're gonna get some decent level of vibration.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like, no, there's the volume was off, right?
Yeah, my ears are ringing. So.
Yeah.
Oh, so your ears were, okay, because at that point, you were already kind of out of the adrenaline.
Yeah, she wasn't even looking at the thing. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And so like, I can tell he's hit somewhere because he stumbles back, and if I had to guess, like, you know, I aim center, but because no one expects to, I don't train on an incline, so it's like I went low.
Yeah.
Like, right, and so he stumbles back. His friends grab him, they pull him, and from my vantage point, it's like I can't see them anymore. So I run to her. She's still huddled here. I grab her and I pull her up, and she.
I wouldn't even give them the chance to pull their friend back. I would have just kept lighting them up till I would have known that all those threats were completely seized, guys. That is he's got a lot of shock going on. He's got a lot of adrenaline. He's got a lot of chaos. I'm not hitting this guy, but what I would encourage you guys to do is just continue to fire till that threat is completely neutralized. Again, that's why shoulder fired 9mm with like a 30, 60 round magazine would be absolutely perfect in this situation. And if you really want to get cool with it, get some NVGs and an IR laser and just turn all the lights off. That way they really never even see it coming. That's my recommendation. Don't focus back on your wife. Focus on stopping the threat.
I had no idea what the outcome was.
Yeah.
Right? Shots are going.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And so I pull her up. I lock the door up there, and then
So did they get a shot off back towards you or at all?
That's
or?
unclear.
Gotcha.
Later on, because I've never in my life fired a 22, but they found a 22 shell casing and then the actual bullet. So it's like somewhere but like who knows, right?
Yeah, he had the bulletproof vest on, so.
Yeah, I plate carrier. Well, they didn't hit me. I know that.
Yeah. There you go.
What gun was it?
It was a Staccato CS.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So not a huge gun, but I mean decent capacity, about 16 plus one. I mean 15 plus one. Yeah. So okay. Also, and so at that time when you went to grab it, what was your thought process in terms of grabbing the gun, in terms of thinking through? Like, did you see your sights? Did you have a red dot on it? Did you see the red dot? So forth and so on.
Yeah, I have a red dot on all my guns. Basically, it's just easier for me because
Red dot is a lot easier for target acquisition, but I do like irons for the art behind it all.
I it's like not a profession, so it's like I don't have that level of comfort. I want it to be pick up and go. But in that case, like there's a lot of things I don't remember. One is I don't remember turning the safety off, and then one is that like no, I don't remember seeing the dot line up. It was more so like just instinctual. You pick it up, and then luckily muscle memory kicked in.
Muscle memory and dry firing, guys. That's why we talk about it so often. And not remembering the details, imagine this when you're talking to the police and how your story needs to corroborate with what they record you saying. You don't say nothing.
And safety off, and then you fire the shots.
And that's why I kind of always talk about like when you go out and train, like just do, even a little bit, just train a little bit of not using your sights. And what I mean is just point shooting, just drawing and then just acting as if you're startled and presenting a gun, because like you just talked about, you had a red dot on there, right? And you didn't even remember seeing the.
And then like, the guy who got shot stumbles because it's like a little bit of a vault over. And so he stumbles and like leaves like, he leaves blood all along the driveway, and then he leaves a little pool where he fell over of the thing. But to me, I shot one guy. There's 3 armed guys. They seem pretty determined. I thought for sure they're going to avenge their buddy, or they're going to come for what they were here for.
Yeah,
right. And so I was standing guard behind that door, and then this is the call I made to 911. And then like even like as I was saying it, like you because like so this is the part I haven't mentioned as much, but it's like we get swatted a lot.
Okay.
Like that also.
All right, guys, so just for the sake of time, I got to go do shit. I'm just going to kind of cut it off here. Ultimately, this worked out for them. But a lot of lessons to definitely be learned. I thought they did a really great job, especially considering, their circumstances. Whole list of things to take note of here, guys, is dogs are not security systems. Use screws, not nails. Have good floodlights. Make sure that you close your curtains to create more of a disoriented factor. Don't leave your doors unlocked. Remember that dogs make noise, especially if they're not trained, and so you might not even realize you're being broken into. Have weapons readily available so that you can easily access them whenever you do hear a noise. Lock your doors at night for fire and for criminal purposes. Make sure that your cameras and your alarms don't have a lag and delay. They will if they're wireless. What is that lag and delay time? The sounds of the crime. People don't realize that it's happening because it's so unbelievable, but God, I ate like shit yesterday. I had like 17 fucking donuts and 10 bags of M&Ms, and I'm like about to puke every time that I talk today because I just am feeling like shit. Panic rooms, do you have them? What's the man's role in protecting the home and the family? You already know what it is in mine. Gun safe code. Make sure that it's easy so you can remember it. Stored weapons. He didn't have a rifle. I would have definitely had a rifle in that part of the house because it's a longer area of fire. Motion sensors within the property telling you where people are at. It's going to have a delay, and that lighting again as well happened to help him out a lot. Window of fire, that's going to be at the doorway. That's really where your wife's going to get that separation, but the stairs is another fatal funnel, so that's not bad at all. Audible exclusion, hyperfocus. he experienced both of that, and also memory loss and distorted memory. So just remember, you don't say nothing to the cops. Incline shooting, at that type of an incline, at that type of a distance, it ain't gonna matter, guys. But we could talk more about that another time. Just know that if you're shooting on an incline, I think it's like 30 degrees or more from a distance of like 50 yards or more, you're gonna wanna aim low because your impacts are gonna come in high. Remember, movement is life, guys. Muscle memory, dry fire, do the things that we're telling you to do, because that's exactly what allowed this guy to save his wife in this situation. Don't stay on the phone with 911, call it, tell them who you are, where you're at, that you're in trouble, you need help, send police, and hang up. And then notice what that police response time is going to be for your local area. And then lastly, notice that this was a month ago and their house is still pretty banged up from it. So it takes time to get this stuff fixed and recuperated. And you guys are lucky that you're members of the USCCA, because now, well, if you're a member of my training group, you are, but you get all that stuff built in to your expenses. You get to go live somewhere while the police utilize the crime scene. They'll do cleanup for you, totally paid for if there is a cleanup, like all that blood and hazmat and stuff. So even that little bit is pretty nasty. Let me know what questions you guys have. You know, what do you do to secure your home? What do you do the same? What do you do different? What do you do differently than what I even said? Because a lot of this stuff is what I currently do to keep my home and my family safe. Until next time, guys, I'll talk to you.